Hey, welcome to Pastor Jerone TV. I'm your host this morning. Former Deputy Attorney General McCabe is going to be prosecuted. They're going to indict him. He was fired by the FBI. Christopher Wray fired him for lying and leaking sensitive information to the press. And he was one of the ones with Comey, Clapper, and Brenner who started this whole thing about this phony Russia story against Donald Trump. It was a coup attempt. It was an attempt to overthrow a sitting president in the United States. Okay? They made up a phony story about, well, they pushed a phony story. The story was made up by a dude named Christopher Steele, and a guy out of London. He made up the phony dossier, and the FBI and the Clinton Foundation paid the man millions of dollars. The FBI paid him $17 million of our taxpayer money for this false story. The Clinton Foundation paid him millions of dollars. And from what I hear, Obama and them was willing to pay him a couple $1 million, but they withdrew their offer. This story was phony and it was a lie. Well, you know how these people that were connected with Donald Trump, forget their names, they were connected with Donald Trump, they end up going to prison. Manafort was one of them. Manafort went to prison for lying about something that he did before he was on Donald Trump's campaign team. This was stuff that was back 10 to 20 years ago. And they was trying to pressure him to come up and say, to create a story that Donald Trump asked him to lie or something like that. Well, he didn't do that. Manafort is going to spend time in prison for something he did away from Donald Trump. Okay? General Flynn, they got the FBI, and it was McCabe that did this. He went, as soon as Donald Trump went into the White House, after he won, Comey told McCabe to go in and sit down and interview him and tell him that that this is not an official interview and that he does not need an attorney. They lied. They didn't read him his Miranda rights. They didn't give him a chance to get an attorney. So they said that Flynn had lied about talking to some Russians. But in one of the 302s are the FBI notes that they take. In one of the 302s, they said that many of the FBI agents who was there at that interview that McCabe did with General Flynn, they said that they did not feel that the man was lying. Well, they prosecuted him for lying anyway. The man lost his home. He lost all of his finances to pay for his legal bills. And they got him for lying. Not for any crime. Not for anything he did. Not anything that's connected to the case that they was trying to build against Donald Trump. They got him for lying. Now, McCabe, the one that the investigating a general just found out, they said that they're going to move forward with indicting McCabe, because McCabe's attorneys was going there pleading with the IG and asking him not to prosecute him. Well, they're going to move forward with the indictment. They are assembling a grand jury right now, and McCabe lied on 3 incidences. He lied. He lied about leaking sensitive information is a crime. He did that. Lying while you're under oath is a crime, and he did that 3 times. So he's in a lot of trouble. Okay? They put the country through 2.5, 3 years of hell behind a phony dossier saying that Trump went to Russia and went to a hotel and requested to stay in the same hotel that Michelle and Barack Obama stayed in, and the same bed, and he requested that some prostitutes pee on him in that bed. Well, it was a made-up story, okay? And James Comey think he's going to get away. They think because the Attorney General decided not to indict him on 2 counts of lying. He lied. But he's not going to get away with this because he lied on the FISA application. The FISA is the secret court. And so the FISA courts and judges rely on the FBI, the CIA, to give them information that they have researched and found to be true, because a person can't go in there and defend themselves, okay? So they lied to the FISA courts in order to spy on Donald Trump before he became president and after he became president. While he was in the White House, he found out he was being wiretapped. And that's when he sent out that tweet that I was being wiretapped, and it was true. But the media was telling you he did not get wiretapped. That was a lie. Donald Trump was lying about being spied on. They lied. The media, the Democrat Party, the FBI, the CIA with James Clapper, James Comey, and Brenner, John Brenner, all of these people colluded together to try to bring Donald Trump down because they didn't want their evils to be exposed. Along with Clinton, they were selling this country out to the UN. Now, you noticed the other day that AOC, that crazy baddie girl out of New York, is asking for the UN, the United Nations, to come over here and police our borders. The Democrat Party is willing to hand our country over, to give our sovereignty of our country over to a foreign entity such as the UN, United Nations. You remember that black Democrat over in Chicago, as soon as President Donald Trump became president, and there was more murders in Chicago than any other time. Well, President Donald Trump was talking about bringing in the military, and the black Democrat got on TV and said, we don't want Donald Trump to come in here. We don't want him to bring the military in here, our military. He said, we want the UN to come here on our soil and to police our people. Okay? This is the evil that God prevented our country from going to, because our country was getting ready to be handed over to the one world order, and the Democrats is all on board to do that. So, and this is why they were trying to get rid of Donald Trump, because their plans had been foiled. Their plans of turning this country over to the UN. Just as this is why Obama then was coming up with all these business restrictions to try to hurt businesses and choke them out, and sending out our factory jobs to other countries like Germany. And see, Germany is hurting now because all those jobs came back to America, and now that Germany is going through a recession, China's going through a recession, Japan is going through a recession. All these places where, in Mexico, all these places where the Democrats were sending out, shipping our jobs out to them people. Now, Donald Trump removed all those regulations and restrictions on businesses, gave them some tax breaks, and now we got all these jobs coming in here, and now those other countries are going through recession. They were trying to break our economy, make us go broke, and then turn us over to the UN, and now the UN can come over here and police us and help us, so to speak, with our economic difficulties. Okay? But McCabe is going to go to jail. They need to go to jail. Comey, Clapper, Brenner, Peter Strzok, and Lisa Page. Remember those two FBI lovers that was texting each other and talking about they was going to make up a story that Trump can't get in and that we're going to find a way to get him out? They're going to go to jail too. Okay? This is crazy. They cannot be allowed to get away with this stuff because this is America. That's why. They can't be allowed to get away because this is America. And that's why they all need to go to jail. All right. Well, listen, I'll fill you in on as the story unfolds. But we're starting to see some justice here. And we have one more report that's getting ready to come out. And this report is going to recommend indictments, but it's going to have the power to indict. Horowitz, he didn't have the power to indict. But this new guy, this new report that's getting ready to come out, is going to have the power to indict. We're going to be setting up grand juries everywhere. And these people need to go to jail. It's kind of like that story in the Bible where, you know, Haman set up those galos to try to hang Mordecai and Esther, and ended up to be used on him and his family. All right? These people lied and they put our country through some hell, and they made us look bad before the world, but now it's their turn. Now check this out. Let me say this before I go. McCabe, even after he got fired, he went up and set up a GoFundMe that raised $538,000. He also got a book deal worth millions of dollars. And guess who hired him? CNN, the enemy of the country, the false prophet media, hired McCabe to come onto their show, right? But all that stuff is coming to an end. And if you turn on CNN, you're going to see them trying to defend him. But it's not, he has no defense. All right, I'll see you in the next video.